Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Thank you for being with us today. I was going to get to the Rangers, but I want to get to this text real quick. Because I'm not as close to this as Jamie is. It's kind of flipped because this was a text that we would get occasionally during the Lady Raider basketball season. And from my observation, just my casual observation, listening, observing, just all those things, I do not think this team has given up. It doesn't look like it's given up. The texter asks, has this team just given up, or are we just that bad?
Man, are you a prisoner of the moment?
Yeah.
Didn't we just win a series against the top 20 team?
Yeah, 16th.
Like
16th.
2 days ago?
Yeah. Right. Right.
2 days ago.
Right.
2 days ago. Did we just completely forgetting about that?
Yeah. No.
We just completely forgot about that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just stupid comment.
Yeah, they were terrible yesterday. No question. I mean, it's baseball, and you play terrible sometimes, especially when your starting pitching is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and it looks bad, and it feels bad, and it's not fun to watch, and it's not be a fan to be a fun of. But you have those days in baseball.
Because I think there's
the team just won 2 of 3 against a top 20 team. Did they look like they quit 2 days ago?
No, and frankly, could have won all 3 games.
Yes.
Frankly, could have won all 3
games.
games.
The same thing the weekend before on the road against a good Arizona State team.
Yeah.
So you are absolutely inundated with being a prisoner of the moment.
Yeah. So
quite honestly, the team's playing better now than they were at the beginning of the season when they were bad.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
So, hey, I mean, I'm still not trying to tell you that we're, heading straight to Omaha or anything like that.
Sure.
It's going to be a challenge just to get to the postseason for this team.
Mm-hmm.
But they're playing way better now than they were for most of the stretches during the year. So to ask if they've given up,
no.
I'm going to ask you if you've given up on asking smart questions.
Yeah. He's not giving up.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's the least. I mean, I know it's after this game where you were really bad.
Yeah.
But this would be after the Arizona weekend would be the worst time to ask that question all season long. That was your best weekend of baseball.
Yeah. It sounded good, looked good, felt good, and you had a stinker yesterday. But I don't think you've given up by any stretch of the imagination. All right.
I mean, you can ask, is the team talented enough, good enough? Do they have too many holes? All of those are fair questions. Mm-hmm. But to ask if they've given up, I mean, when you just played your best weekend of baseball, makes none sense whatsoever.
Yeah. If you'd given up, then you would have just laid down this over the last several weeks. I mean, you had plenty of opportunities to do that, and I don't think this team has done that. We talked yesterday about how the Rangers couldn't get any runs, and I guess just like the rain in Lubbock, the runs came in bunches last night for the Texas Rangers.
15 of them.
Yeah, 15 of them.
Very nice to see.
And Jeff's nugget in the Sports Center, help me with it. It equals the number of runs that they've had since, did you say April the 23rd, or did you go back further?
April 23rd.
April 23rd.
They scored before yesterday. Mm-hmm. They had scored 15 runs between the 23rd and yesterday's game. They scored 15 runs in yesterday's game.
Wow.
We get 15 inches of rain a year. You should be here the day we get it.
Yeah. Is this a situation, Chuck, where you're so excited about the offense just to cover up the fact that they got a really good starting pitching performance from Jacob deGrom?
No, it's not.
He didn't even notice who was pitching in this game.
I did not. I did not. I've got a lot.
Had they not scored
right
15 runs, I'd have pulled the 2 strikeouts that were just beautiful pieces of work.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. He's still pitching.
No runs, 4 hits.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts. Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was really good.
But you also had 2 bases clearing doubles, and they were loaded for the doubles. So yeah. The offense exploded, and Jacob deGrom went, cool, I could just relax now.
And I'm glad the glue worked on Josh Young's finger so that it can stay together, so he can play. He went 1 for 4 last night, had an RBI, had a run scored, did strike out 3 times. Is that the bugaboo for him, Jamie, as a hitter, the strikeouts, or is that?
Yeah, you'd definitely like to see him improve on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is that just a function of being aggressive at the plate? Kind of his
function of facing good pitching and probably a little bit of both.
Okay. I mean,
and a function of Major League Baseball over the last decade.
Yeah, right. I get all that. But yeah, no. How about that Jacob deGrom performance last night? That was outstanding.
It was. I find myself rooting so hard for that dude.
Hey, I'm rooting for him. The other Josh had a good night last night. Josh Smith.
He did.
He went 3 for 4. So it's good. It's good to have those Joshes in the lineup. He scored a run, had a couple RBI. So good for him. And then Marcus Semien had another good night. He had 3 hits last night as well. So he scored a couple of runs and had an RBI. Adolis Garcia, 3 RBI last night, 2 for 4. So, Leody Taveras, who I guess he's in the lineup because of his bat, right?
Taveras?
Yeah. I mean, he's not been the best of outfielders.
I think he's an average player both ways.
Okay, both ways?
He's a star at the plate or in the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 for 4 for him last night. Run scored and a ribby as well. Okay, so the Rangers and the A's will play again tonight, and we will have that game for you after the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Yes, no. Yes, no.
The Astros are on 100.7 The Score after the Fan Zone. Should be the Rangers after Tech Baseball.
I have the Astros playing at 12:40 today. We'll get it all together.
Eventually.
We'll figure it.
There's a schedule somewhere.
We'll figure it out. It is the morning drive here this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3. Just bear with us.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive, time for this day in sports history. Today is the last day of the month of April 2025. It is 4/30/25. And with this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
1939, Lou Gehrig sets a Major League Baseball record, playing in his 2,130th consecutive and final game for the New York Yankees.
Wow.
1958, Ted Williams is the 10th Major League player to get 1,000 extra base hits.
That's a big number.
And keep in mind, he lost some time.
Right.
To World War II. That was, prime time in his career, like winning the Triple Crown beforehand. 1990, as Mets pitcher David Cone argues a call at first base. Play still going on. 2 Braves would score.
He was all in.
Yeah. He was. 2017, the number 7 Texas Tech women's tennis team won the program's first Big 12 championship title as the Lady Raiders down number 9 Oklahoma State 4-2. Lady Raiders have defeated the Cowgirls twice this season.
Nice.
In 2022, Brock Purdy is selected by the San Francisco 49ers with the final pick of the NFL draft, becoming Mr. Irrelevant.
He's become pretty relevant.
A little bit. And also in 2022, the number 9 Texas Tech baseball team cruised to an 11-1 victory over Baylor at Baylor's ballpark. Tech backs exploded in the second for 5 runs using 5 hits as they batted around the order. It is National Raisin Day, National Bubble Tea Day, no idea, and Stop Food Waste Day.
Yeah. I was thinking about that last night when I looked at our full refrigerator as I was going to bed. It's like, God, there's a lot of food in there.
Okay. But did you grab a fork and get after it?
No, I mean, it's just, I'm a big fan of the leftover, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just, sometimes it saddens me that we can't get through all of it before it goes bad.
Wait about 4 years for the young phenoms and the...
Oh, no, yeah.
When they get to the right age, that won't be an issue anymore.
Yeah, the young phenom's on the verge of that, I think. He's always, I think he's hungry. The little phenom, he gets filled up pretty quick.
Galdaga is 40. Anna de Arms 37.
That's why, Jeff, it's important to throw the wet towel at the door to get Grandma to bring you some ice cream.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Or
ring the bell.
The towel at the door.
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
Kristen Dunst is 43. Tony Pollard 28. And the greatest NBA executive of all time,
Jerry Colangelo.
Isaiah Thomas turned 64.
Okay. He's 64.
64.
Isaiah. Okay.
Zeke.
And on this day, 1945. Holed up in his bunker under the headquarters in Berlin, Adolf Hitler commits suicide by swallowing a cyanide capsule and shooting himself in the head. Couldn't have done that 4 years earlier.
Did us all a favor, right? Yeah.
Soon after, Germany unconditionally surrendered to the Allied forces, ending Hitler's dreams of a 1,000-year Reich. Listen, I'm not a fan of permanent solutions to temporary problems.
Yeah.
I'll make an exception in this case.
Yeah.
And that would happen to be this day in sports history.
All right, Double T 97.3 has teamed up with Home Zone, helping you make your house a home to give away local weekly cash of $500 every Tuesday and Thursday. That was yesterday, and that is tomorrow to local listeners up to $10,000. All you have to do is listen every weekday at this time, 8:45 and 4:45 for the local winning word. Then go to DoubleTSportsNetwork.com for your chance to qualify. Win $500 every Tuesday and Thursday. The more times you enter, the more chances you have to win. Plus, we'll have a final cash giveaway of $2,500. Put it on your calendar, June the 26th. We will tell you where. It's all a local cash giveaway totaling $10,000 with the Home Zone, helping you make your house a home, and Double T 97.3. Well, it didn't go their way yesterday, but it could go your way today if you enter the word Pistons. Pistons. Go to DoubleTSportsNetwork.com and enter Pistons, and you could win some cash. The Pistons didn't play last night. Oh, yeah, they did. They beat the Knickerbockers 106-103, so it did go their way.
Okay.
And that series is now 3-2, and that game was at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. If I ever got to do a game from Madison Square Garden, what's the over-under number on the times that I would say world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden? You think it's 10?
Vegas took that off the board.
Yeah, probably so.
10.
Because whatever number they would set, everyone would just take the over.
Mm-hmm. I did get to do a game at the Forum in Inglewood, and
also not on the Vegas board.
I would tell you, I said probably, I don't know how many times, the Fabulous Forum, just because I wanted to say the Fabulous Forum. And let me tell you, the inner workings of the Fabulous Forum were not so fabulous. I mean, it's kind of dirty. It's kind of disappointing, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Fabulous Forum. But it was pretty cool, the Fabulous Forum. The world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. That was the Detroit's winning last night, 106-103. Okay?
I would... The world's most famous arena.
That's what they call it. That's what they think of themselves as that.
I would think of like the old Colosseum.
Sure, right in Rome. Yeah.
Yeah, as the most famous one.
Okay. They don't play any games there anymore, though.
I don't care.
Is that a place? If you were in Rome, you'd go there, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Would that be the first place you'd go, or would you go to the Vatican?
Well, not
first?
for nothing. I go to the airport first.
Okay, smart aleck. Let me ask you guys this question, Jeff.
You can't go somewhere if you're already there.
Jeff said on this day in sports history, Ted Williams went over 1,000 in terms of 1,000 extra base hits. You want to take a wild guess how many major leaguers have 1,000 or more extra base hits?
24.
Jeff?
30.
39 is the number. The last to get over the hump, this may surprise you, Gary Sheffield, 1,003. And look, I don't know the number of games difference between all these guys, but the guy right above him, just 6 more above him, Ernie Banks.
Okay.
So we think.
How high up on that list is Bonds?
Bonds is number 2.
Okay.
Want to take a guess who number 1 is?
I'm going to guess Ruth.
Nope. Babe is 5th. Jamie?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr. is 8th, tied with David Ortiz and Rafael Palmeiro, all with 1,192. And this person has a 37 extra base lead over Barry Bonds. And some still refer to him as the home run king.
Hank Aaron.
Albert Pujols is 3rd. Stan Musial is 4th. Babe Ruth is 5th. Willie Mays is 6th.
All he would have needed is 300 doubles and triples. And I don't know why I didn't think of that, because the homers count.
And it's interesting. Aaron, Musial, Ruth, Mays, Griffey, Ortiz, who make up the essential top 10. That Griffey, Ortiz, and Palmeiro are tied for 8th. Are all in the Hall of Fame. No Bonds, no Pujols, no Rodriguez, and no Palmeiro. Do you think
2 of those aren't
Pujols will be there?
Yeah, Pujols will be there. Who do you think else will be? Who else will be there?
I bet Bonds gets voted in by the Veterans Committee
eventually. Okay,
I sure hope so.
Miguel Cabrera is 14th, and Manny Ramirez is 18th. Is among those that are not. In the Hall of Fame.
I don't think Manny will be voted in by the Veterans Committee.
And Lou Gehrig, who played his last game on this day, as Jeff said, he's 11th. And Frank Robinson is 12th, who had his first home run in his history yesterday.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Us with you today, whether it's breakfast or dinner. I mean, could be folks that, work the overnight and are getting home and having a cold beer and, some spaghetti for dinner before they go to bed. Mm-hmm. Or you could be having your Cheerios this morning. We're out of Cheerios at our house. Got to get that on the...
Oh, man.
I know it's
check that off my list of things I needed to find out today.
Okay.
I'll make sure I...
let's see here. JL.
Buy Sam's and pick you up some Cheerios
Not
on
Sam's.
the way.
Not Sam's. I've never been in that place. Sam's. I'm not Sam. I mean, I think Lucky Lady's been, but I'm not sure if I've ever been there. I don't think we have a Sam's card anymore.
All right, let me check that off the list. I was also wondering about that.
Okay. JL, thanks for defending me from Chuck's poo-pooing. By the way, I blow mine back in the yard, in the grass.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay. Saw this yesterday, and I thought it'd be a good topic of discussion for us. It is sports related, Jamie.
Not Cheerio related?
No.
Empty cupboard related?
Nope. College football playoff discussion center on straight seeding conference makeup. All right. Commissioners met last week on the 2025 version of the college football playoff. It has still not been decided. Okay.
So it could change even for this upcoming season.
Yeah, the seeding could change. How they do the seeding could change.
Yep.
Now, next year, the Big Ten and the SEC, they can make all the rules because basically everybody's given them, they've ceded all that to them. So the problem is everybody, it has to be unanimous, all 11 people in the room, which includes the FBS commissioners, plus, of course, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish athletic director, Pete Bavacqua. Okay? It is still possible that they could have the seeding change so that it's the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, as opposed to, the conference champions and things along those lines. Like, for instance, last year, the byes would have gone to the quarterfinals for the 3rd seed Texas Longhorns and the 4th seed Penn State Nittany Lions. The Group of 5 champion Boise State would then have played at Indiana. That would have been a pretty good ball game, I'll bet. Instead of them going to the Fiesta Bowl. The Clemson Tigers, instead of traveling to Austin for their first round game, would have played at Notre Dame. That also, I think, would have been a really good football game.
Yeah.
Okay. Arizona State would have taken on Ohio State in the Horseshoe. I don't know how good a game that would have been. So that would have been a little bit more problematic for them. So at any rate, the Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petty and Greg Sankey from the SEC are the two biggest proponents of the change in seeding. It benefits their teams. Okay, but they have to have unanimity. It has to be unanimous amongst the 11 people that are involved in this for any change for 2025. The structure of the college football playoff after 2026 really goes more into the hands of the SEC and the Big Ten because they have a greater say in terms of making those decisions moving forward. So basically what an FBS commissioner in this article says, at some point in time, somebody has to blink. Would you be in favor of seeding 1 through 12 based on the 12 best teams?
Yes.
Okay. Here is the hiccup, okay?
Unanimous.
No, there's another hiccup. The hiccup is the teams that make the quarterfinals receive an additional $4 million in addition to the $4 million they make for getting to the tournament. So that resulted in $8 million for Arizona State and Boise State, which was equal to what Big Ten champion Oregon State and SEC winner Georgia Bulldogs took home, despite all four losing their initial college football playoff games.
I stand by my statement. Unanimous.
Right.
Why would the Big 12 commissioner vote for this?
Well, okay, so here's one of the things that they've talked about. They've talked about a bonus check for $4 million to keep those same payouts to the four highest-ranked conference champions, a compromise that could result in straight seeding, according to this article in Sports Illustrated, that would benefit overall matchups but also keep some teams whole on the balance sheet. So in other words, you may be a conference champion, but you may not be in that four to get one of the buys.
I want the best four teams getting the bye.
Okay.
I agree. Why would the Big 12 commissioner vote for this? You're going to knock your conference potentially out of the top four seeds.
No, I think that's why this is still in negotiations.
And it's unanimous.
Yeah. They're also still undecided as far as 2026 is concerned about getting to a 14-team event. The Big Ten commissioner has been the biggest advocate in pushing for a 14-team event.
I don't understand why we go to 14. I just don't know why we just don't go to 16.
Well, and I'm with you on that. I'd rather it be 16.
Right. Yeah.
And
I know the NFL has 14 and you have a bye for each of the and one in the AFC and one in the NFC, but I just don't understand why we just don't jump to 16.
Apparently there have been some discussion about a 16-team bracket, but it sounds like that it's been more about a 14-team bracket. And in the 14-team bracket, and you're probably not going to like this either, and Jeff's going to say, why would the Big 12 commissioner vote for this? Because in the 14-team bracket, you would have four teams each from the Big 10 and the SEC, two for the Big 12 and the ACC, plus an at-large spot and a group of five champion. It's dubbed the 4-4-2-2-1-1 model. And that equals 14.
Well, why the Big 12 commissioner would vote for that is because he'd get a guaranteed 2 schools in.
He would, but...
Which would be twice as many as we had last year.
Understand.
But you were also a top 4 seed last year. There's prestige that goes with that.
Yeah.
Whether it was deserved or not, that's not the argument.
Yeah.
And there is zero reason for the Big 12 commissioner, or the ACC commissioner for that matter, to say, yes, we'll just let you guys rank them and go from there, because we all know what that's going to end up being, that the Big Ten and SEC get all top 4 seeds and all of us get pushed to the back of the side.
Yeah.
No, you got to give me something in order to get off of this position. The 4-4-2 kind of does. You at least get something out of that in the expanded. But then someone with a brain, a.k.a. all three of us, have said, why are we at 14? 14 is stupid. 14 is the dumbest idea we've had since we decided we were not going to do a college football playoff 30 years ago.
And, and,
There is zero reason for the Big 12 commissioner to vote for this. You're going to knock your conference potentially out of the top four seeds. And it's unanimous.
Well, okay, so here's one of the things that they've talked about. They've talked about a bonus check for $4 million to keep those same payouts to the four highest-ranked conference champions, a compromise that could result in straight seeding, according to this article in Sports Illustrated, that would benefit overall matchups but also keep some teams whole on the balance sheet. So in other words, you may be a conference champion, but you may not be in that four to get the buys.
I
Yeah. Somebody asked this, what's in it for Brett Yormark to give up a bye for the Big 12 champion in 2025? No, you're exactly right. I mean, Jeff's made that point. And I agree with Jamie's point about 16. I mean, and 16 gets you more TV money because it gets you another game.
2 more games.
Yeah. So just makes sense. It just makes sense. Meanwhile, the extended TV contract is still unsigned, but that's not necessarily a big concern. They've agreed to everything. They just got to get the peskiness of the details all lined out.
I feel like there's a good chance they'll put college football games on television next year.
Yeah. No, no, it's not. It's the future version of the college football playoff that goes through 2031.
Oh, okay.
I
bet they'll find a spot for them on one of those stations.
Yeah, no question. And they want to get this wrapped up because at some point in time, the judge is going to rule on this House versus NCAA antitrust settlement, and that's going to take up, quote, much of the industry's focus in July and August. I love it when people say industry. Not really. The industry's focus. So, all that having been said, nothing's been decided yet for sure in terms of 2025 as to how the seeding is going to go. Okay? I think everybody agrees the top 12 should go, and then it's the survival of the fittest. And if you can't win, then sorry about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the reason you have a bracket, right? Win or go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it nice of them to invent a bracket for college football this past year? That was such a great idea.
Man, glad somebody came up with one. Geniuses.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
7:32 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
All right, gentlemen. We have not talked a lot of Texas Tech softball. I don't consider myself an expert.
Okay.
Texas Tech softball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you two do or not, or really college softball in general. I've always enjoyed watching the softball College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but not going to act like I'm an expert on this.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want you to try to remember back to the beginning of the season before the season started, and I want you to tell me what your expectations were for your. For me, uneducated expectations were for this softball team.
Yeah.
And now that we've gone through the season, we have one regular season series left for Coach Glasgow's team. What are your expectations now compared to what they were before the season started?
I think my expectations now are more tempered today than what they were at the start of the season. And again, I am no savant. I have been to Rocky Johnson Field. I don't know if I've ever been to a softball game, but I know where it is. Okay, so my level of expertise is. But given all they got, and given all they paid, and given what all they did, my expectation for them at the start of the year was to make it to the College Softball World Series. That was my expectation. It was like, man, if you don't do that, that's failure because you paid $1 million for this girl. And you bought the coach, and you bought a bunch of his players, and you bought a bunch of assistants, and you got them all new uniforms and bats and balls and all this other kind of stuff. And so, it was like World Series or bust. But I think they've shown it's harder than it looks to win, right? It's always harder than it looks. And I think, for me, if they made it to the Sweet 16 at this point in time, that you would still say you would say, because it would be true, your most successful softball season in the history of your team. And that's where I am today versus the start of the year.
Okay, so help me out here. Is it 64 teams in the postseason? Is it just like baseball, where you have 16 regional sites?
I believe. I'm not going to stake my life on it.
Okay. Jeff's. So Chuck says Sweet 16. I think that would equate to, in baseball, winning a regional.
Softball, same as baseball.
Okay,
Regional,
yeah.
super regional.
So win a regional. Sweet 16, that's a basketball term, Chuck.
Yeah.
Sweet 16 is... I think we use that in baseball and softball.
Okay.
I mean, they move on 2 rounds, they're in Omaha. So, hey.
If they change the college football playoff to 16 from 12 to 16, they won't call it the Sweet 16.
You're probably right about that. That's point number 3 of the day.
Okay, Jeff, where are you?
Okay, beginning of the season, it was one word and one word only. Omaha. That was where the expectation was.
Except it'd be Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah. If you go to Omaha, you're just going to the zoo or their big pool.
None of us said we were softball experts, remember?
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So, get to the College World Series. That was you spend entirely too much money. I don't want to say too much money. You spent a ton of money for the softball program to be successful. And it was, as we heard before when the season started, we went from making, $50,000 to $1 million for the highest paid softball player. Just like that. Mm-hmm. And then you kept adding more talent. And you brought in more and more talent. And there was no reason not to have rocket high, sky high, International Space Station high expectations for this team.
Yeah.
I thought they would contend for a Big 12 title. I didn't know if they would win it. But you don't have to go to Oklahoma City to win and be the Big 12 champion. But I thought they would be in that conversation. Well, you've won the Big 12. You are ranked 15th right now in the latest RPI, I think is what I saw. So that's a 2 seed. That's hosting a regional. You are right on track with where I thought you would be. Host a regional, get a chance to play in a super regional, and then go to Oklahoma City. Those are still my expectations. All they have done is DJ Khaled. All they've done is win. Sure, it hasn't been perfect this season, but why would I change my expectations when they've met all of my other expectations so far?
Wow, you really drank some smart juice today, didn't you?
Just our coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. At the beginning of the year, I didn't think you would win the Big 12. I thought Oklahoma State would. Just that's a team that's been to the College World Series a bunch. Mm-hmm. Look, and I think that I expected them to win this conference still. So they've exceeded that expectation. I think I'm kind of with both of you guys that felt like it's a no-brainer you're going to the College World Series. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, right. You bought your way there.
You just completely flipped this roster. You got the greatest player in the game right now. And we know how one pitcher can dominate a softball game, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought for certain you were going to the College World Series. And very much like Chuck, I have now backed off of that a little bit. So you've exceeded the expectation and won the Big 12, which I didn't think you would do. But I'm lowering my expectation and seeing where the RPI is and being a little bit more educated on things now and paying attention to what other college softball teams are doing and where the Red Raiders match up with them. I think I've also backed it off to the point where I think the Red Raiders will get to host a regional, and I think they'll win that regional. But I do feel like that's kind of my expectation at this point.
Yeah.
So that you would... And do they call them super regionals, Jeff? Just like regionals? Okay, yeah.
Yes, so according to the little bracket I'm looking at here, yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm feeling like that you would fall in a super on the road somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be my guess.
Okay. Let me ask you this follow-up. Do you think we had higher expectations at the start of the softball season than we have for Texas Tech football at the start of, as we get ready to start the football season in the fall? In other words, were our expectations because of what was done for softball higher than what our expectations are for football?
My expectations are higher for softball than they are for football right now.
Yeah.
And my expectations for softball were higher at the beginning of the season than they were for football at the beginning of the season.
No. This coming year for football.
I'd still...
Despite all the money you've spent on football.
Despite all the money we spent.
And that's my point, is that you spent X on softball, and you got the best pitcher. I got that, and some other players as well.
You spent X on softball when no one else was spending Y on softball. Okay. You are competing against people who are spending A through L on football, and you're getting close.
Okay.
But it's a bigger mountain to climb.
Okay. All right. 7:40 this morning here on the morning drive. Somebody says this, earliest I've ever needed a shot of alcohol.
Oh, that's not true. I've been to Tech football games before.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning here on the Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973 if you'd like to voice your opinions. Sometimes it's easier to voice than text, and sometimes it's easier to text than voice. So just, choose your poison there. We come to you, Jamie, Jeff, and I, from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock. We'll have lots of baseball on the air for you today. Up first, the Astros and the Detroit Tigers from Houston, 12:40, the broadcast time, 1:10 first pitch. Then we'll have Red Raider baseball on the air for you tonight. 5:30, the broadcast time, 6 o'clock first pitch. They take on UTRGV. And then later on, we'll have the Rangers and the A's from Arlington on 100.7 The Score. That'll be after the high school fan zone, featuring coaches from Friendship, Cooper, and Liberty. And we're getting ready for some playoff baseball as far as things are concerned with Cooper and Friendship later on this week.
That's good.
Like Friday. So it'll be exciting to...
Actually, Friendship starts on Thursday, I believe.
Okay, that's Thursday. That looks like Friday to me. But Friendship. You're right. Friendship on Double T 97.3. Yeah. They take on El Paso Eastland on Thursday, which is tomorrow, at 6:30 on Double T 97.3. And it's convenient because the A's and the Rangers play at 1 o'clock. So it all worked out.
Works out.
It works out, right? It works out. So that'll be good. And then game 2 will be on Friday for Friendship and El Paso Eastland at high noon on Friday. Okay, and if there's a game 3 that's necessary, we would have that for you on Sunny 97.7. Okay, if it's necessary. Hopefully they'll make quick work of it. Lubbock Cooper softball will be in action on Friday. We'll have that for you on 100.7 The Score. That'll be at 5:30. So that's what's coming up. Okay, this week. So lots to do. Somebody says this with regard to Luka Doncic. I think he might have $5,000 in his couch cushions. I think that's unfair. I mean, I think these guys and gals that have made a lot of money, I think the hand is constantly out for them. People are constantly asking them for stuff.
Yeah, I mean, all the times I've been over to Luca's house, his couch is very clean. Okay. I don't find pencils, crayons, coins at all in his couch cushions. So I get the point. I guess I'll just say this: him giving $5,000 compared to you and I giving $5,000 is different.
It
is. No question. Mm-hmm. But there are plenty of athletes who have millions and millions of dollars and don't choose to be charitable. Yes, it doesn't affect them as much as it would you and I, okay? But there are plenty who have the money and choose, whether it be athletes or entertainers or bankers, okay? Or salespeople at Raymark Communications that choose not to be charitable. But others...
Wow,
that was a joke, Chuck. It wasn't a shot.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm an on-air personality. I'm not a salesperson.
You're old. They choose not to, and other athletes choose not to. So the fact that he's doing it when he doesn't have to is good. And again, there's some smart in it, right? Enduring yourself to the Laker fans and all that good stuff. There's some smart in it.
If you're going to hitch up to somebody, hitch up to Kobe, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy. Somebody says this. The same guy says this. I was just being a smart butt, in no way discounting what he did.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's fair.
That's good. Let's see. Old Razzle Dazzle points out that New Home is in the playoffs too. Hey, I hope they win the state championship. Okay. He's yelling at me, and it's all caps.
All caps.
New Home is in the playoffs too, Chuck.
Truth be told, it's probably not a New Home person. They're just someone trying to goof on you.
They're just goofing on me. Right? Yeah. Yeah, they're just goofing on me. A lot of softball experts we have here too.
Is the person from New Home who's parent to the team going, they didn't make the playoffs. I don't know why that was said. That's the text I want to have happen now.
Oh, goodness. All right. 8:06 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today. I mean, this is what okay, so what's the attitude? I mean, what's the right question for you on this that is going to be like is there an approach going into a series like you have with West Virginia where you can help your team with a game like what you're going to face today in a competitive team that just beat the bejesus out of you? Or is it just about going and having some success so you can feel good when you get on the plane tomorrow when you go to Morgantown because you're going to play the first place team, or do you even worry about any of that?
Well, first, I hope no amount of deficit in runs beats the Jesus out of any of our players. Okay, I hope they keep the Jesus in them.
Okay.
And I would hope that would be for you too, Chuck. Yeah. I think the second thing you said, you want to play good baseball and feel like you're take a little momentum away from it, or just a good vibe and a good feeling.
Yeah, good taste in your mouth. Yeah,
heading into it, and at the same time, you don't want to use up your bullpen, and so you have guys that you can't use on day one or day two of that series. That's a challenge that the coaching staff has to figure that out.
Here's a stupid question for you. Okay.
Well, I have plenty of stupid answers. So
I know.
Just ask the chat line.
I do appreciate the warning, though.
I tee them up for you guys as best I can. Is there anybody on the team, like last night, was there anybody on the team that you wondered who was a frustrated pitcher that plays second base or first base or outfield or catcher or says, hey, coach, can I go in there and throw an inning?
No.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Like in Major League Baseball, you got some of those guys, outfielders or what, that think that they can pitch, and it gets to be 17-2, and they throw old razzle dazzle in there to pitch.
I don't think this team is angry at each other or like, well, I play right field.
No.
I'm better than these guys we're rolling out there. So
just for fun.
Gardner and Tad, get out of the way. Let me throw. Let me throw. I'll show these.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you see that all the time. Like, position player that gets to go out there and throw an inning. No? None of that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, Damian Bravo started his career as a Red Raider pitcher.
He's already had that opportunity.
Hudson Parker did too.
Okay.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.